Hello and welcome to the Robin Knits podcast. This is an episode where I'll be talking about my spring knitting plans, what are the yarns I'm using, and why I picked these designs. So if this is something that interests you, I hope you hang around and enjoy this episode. When I'm looking at spring knitting plans, I am looking for a period from mid-March maybe until sometime in June, mid-June again, we could comfortably say. So mid-March to mid-June is what I am looking at. That's about a 3-month period, and I want to try and work with designs that are more spring friendly and leading towards summer. Now this does not mean that I'm going to be knitting only using yarns that are plant fibers or yarns that are summer friendly or spring friendly. I would be continuing to use yarns that are comfortable for me to work on, but I also want to try new yarns and new fibers, so I have some of those in mind and some of those sitting behind me, and I'll tell you what projects are planned for them. To start with, I thought I'll look at my unfinished projects, look at things that I'm bringing in from last year to from the last season to now, try and talk about it so I would be accountable and finish it this season. So the first one is my penny gloves. So this we go. So the first one is my penny glove. Now this is the half finished one. I finished the first half of the mitten, but I've had second glove syndrome for sure. I haven't cast it on. I had to use the cord that I was using for this for something else, and I started using it and I never looked at this again. One of my goals actually at the beginning of the year was to make sure I am in track with my gift knitting for Christmas, and so I wanted to make at least one pair of penny gloves every month. This is the third month, end of the third month of the year, and I'm here with one half of a pair. I do not know if I'm going to be able to make 12 pairs by the end of the year, but I know I want to finish this at least, and I want to see if I can finish one per season. I feel that would be more realistic, and I also think I need to start breaking up my gift knitting towards every part of the year instead of keeping it only for Christmas. So this is the first half, and I've been using Surela sock yarn. This is in the colorway I Believe in People from the Downton Abbey collection. I'm trying not to make any crinkles. This is, I'm holding it with this. This is the Suri Alpaca by Surela again. This is in the colorway Toil, and this is from the Spring Tonal collection from last year. This was not a new purchase. So I want to finish this yarn. I have a little bit of the green contrast yarn as well that I think is Tom. Yeah, I think it's Tom. I have used it at the cuff of this mitten, and I just want to finish the yarn as well as I'm working on it. And so this is my first unfinished project that I'm bringing in to this season. The next one is this. This was supposed to be the baby bear onesie. This was made using Knit Picks Brava, and so this was supposed to be a onesie, but I decided to make it into a cardigan instead because we're going into the warmer season. And I left it at this. I got to do the sleeves and I've got to seam the ears, and I never got back to it again. It's been almost a month since I put it on the eyes, and I had some decisions to make about whether I continue this as a onesie or keep it as a cardigan. I've decided finally to keep it as a cardigan. Also because I know the yarn's not going to be enough. I've just got this much left. I've got this much left. This is in the colorway, I think it's called Peacock. I'm not sure, but yes, that's the that should be the colorway. If it is not, I'll put the name of the colorway here. So I know this is going to be enough for the sleeves and then the ribbing, and so I've decided to go ahead and keep this as a cardigan. So this is my second unfinished object that I'm going to bring into this season. And I want to move on to what are the gift knits that I planned for this season. The first one is a sibling sweater by Laura Penrose. I'll put the pictures of everything over here because I do not have the project with me right now. As I was going into this year, there was a kid I wanted to make a cardigan for, but she has 2 siblings. And I decided to make them, I scrapped the cardigan plan and decided to make them all a sibling sweater, probably in coordinating colors, not the same, but at least coordinating colors. And so I started with the first one, and I'm going to use this time to finish it. This is in Knit Picks Twill. Horacha Heather, fingering held double, and I'm trying to use my scrap yarns to make the first one. So I picked all the shades of green, and that's the one I'm working in. So this is the first gift knitting one. The second one is the Cold Lemonade by Sofia Izagira. So for the Cold Lemonade by Sofia Izagira, the recommended yarn was Biche Bush by Le Petit. Yeah, I think that was the actual yarn that was used. The original yarn that was used for it is Biche Bush, but this is the yarn that I have decided to use. Tinline. Well, there are no colorways mentioned on this, but this is the pale yellow one, and this is the cream one. It is a stripe top. This is my year of stripes. Also my season of stripes. I've got the sibling sweater, I've got this, and I've got a lot more stripes coming up. That's interesting. This pattern actually has a little difficulty with the size. There's a lot of complications with this pattern. I bought it last year, but I held it off to make sure that I would be knitting it sometime now. When I say complications with the pattern, first of all, the size ranges are very, very minimal. It just has small, medium, large, and the positive ease for this is about 26 to 28 centimeters. So even if I'm making the smallest size, I am worried it will be too big for me. Now this came under the category of gift knit because I wanted to make this for my sister. This pattern was also part of my Make 9 because I really wanted to try this. So I decided that I am going to try this in the smallest size, and if the boat neck, it's a boat neck as well, so if it is too large, I'm hoping it does not slip down the shoulders, and that's not going to be comfortable at all. Now if it is really large, I might keep it. If it is the right size, or even if it has enough possibilities to suit her, she is probably a size or 2 smaller than me, and so if it's gonna suit her, if I know the size is gonna suit her, then I'll probably give it to her. She does live in a warmer place, so I know she would be able to appreciate this a lot more for sure. The next one is the Direction Loop sweater. This is by Other Loops. It is a DK weight pattern, worsted weight pattern. The original yarn that was used is Gepard fingering weight yarn. Let me look it up. It's Wild Wool Silk, and it was held with Gepard Skid Setter. Now the gauge, when you look at it, it leans more towards a worsted weight pattern, but I am going to be using Surella Yarns DK. You are hearing a lot of Surella yarn because these were yarns that I purchased a couple of years ago, and I want to make sure that I'm using up these yarns before I go on to purchase any more. So I'm trying to use whatever I can from my stash. Now this is the yarn I have. Well, if you see, if you've noticed, it is a garment. This is the colorway Jardin, and this is the colorway, I don't know how to say it, I'm gonna put it here. Now this was last year, early last year, when I was really eager to knit, but I was really afraid to start, and so I was looking up Tunisian crochet because it looks like knitting, but it's crochet, and it was not out of my comfort zone. So this is a Tunisian crocheted garment, but I did not like the fit, I did not like the drape, and after I started knitting, and I figured there's a lot of difference between a crocheted garment and a knit garment. But when you look at Tunisian crochet, it literally gives you 2 thick layers. And so this is a very thick layer. It's not like a knit garment at all. It's got actually a whole layer of pearls and a whole layer of knit. So you crochet one way and you crochet back, and that still is one row. And so I decided to take this apart and use this yarn for this one direction. I decided to take this apart and use the yarn for the direction loop sweater by Other Loops. I'm going to be making this in the size XS because it does have a lot of positive ease. It has positive ease of about 25 to 40 centimeters, and this is going to be made for an acquaintance again. So this is gift knit. This person's birthday is in July, so which is why this comes within the spring knitting plans. Yes, this is not a spring yarn, it is not a spring pattern, but I will be knitting it in spring. I'm also hoping that I would get to enjoy the yarn a little more. I'm going to look at the video, or I don't know if it was just a reel that Amy of Knee Knits had put up when she was when she unraveled her Whitmore cardigan and soaked the yarn, dried it, and wound it up all over again, and had a fresh start on that project. So I'm going to try and do that with this and make sure I use up all of the yarn as much as possible. I really like the colors. I like it's a tonal yarn, and you could see that slight variegation. I'm sure it's gonna shine in the direction loop sweater. The pattern and the yarn would be a great match, so I'm looking forward to making this. The next pattern is Stockholm Sweater by Petite Knit. This again, I do not have the yarn with me yet. This was originally made with using silk mohair from Isaiah, held double. I do not intend to do that. The person I'm making this sweater for actually had a very specific requirement. She sent, I'll see if I can put pictures of what she sent me. The sweater, first of all, has drop shoulders. It has textures on it, and she wanted a similar color. I did find a similar color in Drops Daisy, and it is the colorway Green Parrot, and I ordered it. So it's coming from Wool Warehouse. I am excited about receiving this yarn. I do think I made a mistake in calculating the yardage, because the person I'm knitting for is a smaller size. So I would be knitting size medium, because she does like oversized garments. I'm going to be knitting size medium for her, but she is a very tall person, so I would have to add on quite a lot of length. And keeping that in mind, I don't think I've ordered enough yarn, so I have requested her to lend me a sweatshirt that she is comfortable with. I'll take the measurements, match it to the pattern, see what is right, and then order the rest of the yarn. I also want to order Drops silk mohair in the colorway Petrol for another project, so I'll probably do that together. Moving on to patterns that I'm going to be knitting for me. The first one is the Cable Shawl by Julie Kevelman. This is actually a test knit that I'm going to be doing for John Arbin. So I'm not sure if I could actually show the pattern, but I'll probably show the beginnings of it. So this is what I have, only the beginnings of it. So I'll hide the chart part. This is what it's starting to look like. So it is a shawl that is crescent shaped. The edge has very slight curves to it, and the border has cable and lace pattern. So this shawl is knit very differently. You actually do the borders first, and then you pick up stitches to do the body of the shawl. And so I started knitting it in the same yarn I used for my spring fling sweater, but I am having second thoughts on it, and I have to make a decision about this yarn. I think I should be able to make that decision in a week or so, because I'm going to focus on this project only then. I do not intend to stress myself anytime before that. I have a second test knit that I have been accepted into. It's the Moment Tea by Lily Kate France. I am so excited to pick me. This is amazing. When I saw the tea, I really wanted to make it. Even if she didn't pick me, I know I would have bought the pattern, and I applied for it, fingers crossed, hoping she would pick me, and she did. So this is the yarn I have for it. I would try not to take it out of the package because it's gonna make a lot of noise. This is Knit Picks Gloss, and I haven't decided the colors yet, but this is a combination I'll probably be using. I haven't made up my mind on it yet, but I'll let you know in my podcast if I made up my mind and what colors I've picked. I'll put a picture of the pattern here anyways for you to see. This is made in this with the needle size 3.75. That brings me back to something else. This pattern, the Cold Lemonade, the Julie shawl, all of them are made using the same needle size, and so I have to be very attentive about how I prioritize these projects so I can finish it on time and give a proper update to the to the designers, and also see how it fits into my spring knitting plan as well. And the dates of delivery for all of the different patterns, whoever I'm knitting it for. The next one is, this is for me again, it's the Perfect Knit Tee. This is by Caitlin Barthold. I have made quite a lot of progress with it. The suggested yarn for this is Lion brand Trubo. Sorry, that is not true. The suggested yarn for this is Lion brand Kubo. And it's made using 4mm needles, but I have made a lot of changes and I covered this in the podcast again, so I wouldn't bring it up over here, but this is what it's looking like. And I have made it using this yarn. It is Hobie's Go Handmade Soft Bamboo Fine, and this is it's a blend of bamboo and cotton. It does not really, 70% bamboo, 23% cotton, and 7% acrylic. It's a fingering weight yarn. I've held it double, and I'll talk a little more about this in my podcast again, so you can watch it there. The last plan I have is the April cardigan by Petite Knit. This is something I've been going back and forth on. I have wanted to make this pattern for a very long time, but I didn't make a decision on what yarn I should be using, and I finally figured what yarn I want to use, and so I made a swatch. This is what the swatch for the April cardigan looks like. This is made with a combination of Knit Picks Galileo. This is the Galileo yarn, so it's Knit Picks Galileo, and I held it together with Alpaca Cloud, and so this is going to be a warm outer piece, but so far with whatever I've knit and even the swatch, it's pretty drapey. Of course it's drapey because the Galileo one has bamboo in it, and alpaca lace is gonna make it drapey as well. So this is pretty drapey, but I'm hoping it would be light as well. My goal for this is to just carry it around with me and use it when it gets really cold in the evenings. If you're going for a walk, if you're going to the harbor front, and if it's getting really cold, then I would want to just use this as a second layer. A lot of my summer dresses would go with this because a lot of my summer dresses actually have Indian prints, and they are somewhat this color. They usually have browns, reds, blacks in it. I'll put a few pictures of it if I can find, and so I feel that colors like this, the one I'm wearing, brown, reds, would go really well as layering pieces with that. And that is the last plan. So I have one cardigan, 3 t-shirts, which is the Moment Tee, the Perfect Knit Tee, and the Cold Lemonade. And I have 2 sweaters, the Stockholm sweater and the Direction Loop sweater, and 2 kids garments, which is the Baby Bear onesie and the sibling sweater, and 2 accessories, the penny glove and the shawl. Now I'm hoping I'll be able to finish all of these. When I'm talking about it and I'm able to break it down this way, I feel it's a lot more doable, but Spring and summer is also when we are out of the house most of the time. I just finished work, close my laptop, and I'm out of the house immediately. So I don't know what it would look like in the sense of time, but I'm hoping I'll be able to finish all this, give it to people, and enjoy whatever I'm making for myself as well. If any of this is in your spring knitting plan, I know a lot of these are not new patterns, it's nothing new out of the blue, but I'm a new knitter and I just want to catch up. And I'm usually not someone who is very I'd rather wait and see what patterns look like on different people, if there are any mistakes, if there are more Ravelry notes that I can refer to, and then I would feel confident enough to make the pattern. So I'm usually someone who is a very worried knitter, and so I wouldn't normally rush myself to do anything like this. I wouldn't rush myself to try a new pattern anyways. So if there are any of these that are in your spring knitting plans, let me know. It would be interesting if I shared spring knitting plans with anybody. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it inspired you to start some spring knitting plans for yourself. And I hope I get to see you soon. Most of what I've been doing is covered in my podcast, so you can always watch that. So feel free to subscribe so you know when the podcast is out, and you can catch up with whatever I'm knitting there. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and thank you for spending time with me and letting me give you company while you were knitting. Have a nice day, and I hope to see you soon.